welcome back to yet another edition of Survive or Thrive. I'm moving you daily, or giving you tips and tricks daily to move you out of this element of just surviving your day into components that help you thrive. And today is going to kind of springboard on a podcast yesterday, which was the venomous snake in your house. If you didn't listen to this, you got to go back and listen to it, because this will really kind of make some sense. But just a quick little recap. In the concept is of if you had a venomous snake in your house, what would you do? And most people would raise up and say, "Hey, I gotta neutralize this threat." But obviously, none of us have snakes in our house right now, unless you love pets, but that are snakes. But the legitimate component to it is there are snakes. There are things that are threatening you on a daily basis. And for me, the threat was actually taking my connection away from my kids. And it is summertime. They enjoy playing some video games, and they have to earn it. They do some chores. They do a lot of stuff throughout the day. So legitimately, they earn their time. But what was infiltrating is their time was on my time. And meaning when I got back from serving people all day at the office and going that direction, if they're disconnected in the rooms doing their time, it doesn't really fit. So my snake in my house was just that, because I get a lot of fire and I get a lot of power out of my family. And if you've ever looked into a kid's eyes, there's a lot of truth and there's a lot that you can learn. And so I look to this as a big part of what I do on a daily basis. My ability to go throughout my day depends on my connections with with Marin, my queen, and my kids. And so the snake in my house had to be killed. It had to be like, look, you guys can do this, but not on this time. We're going to actually spend some time connecting and going through playing games and doing whatever we want to do, but it's going to be about fun and it's going to be about connection, because that's what we need. And so we set that forth. And that was the whole gist of that podcast yesterday. But springboarding on top of that right now is that, if you do create that space, there are like people in your life right now. It could be kids, it could be a significant other. There is somebody that is looking to you to lead them. And kids are a big part of that. Oftentimes we see discipline, we see like telling them right from wrong. We help them with little components throughout their lives, but not really imparting this concept of giving them purpose, giving them something that's legitimate to do. And so these podcasts, and this is my story with this, these podcasts take a lot of time. There's recording, there's production, there's trying to get it out into one of the syndicates, and then uploading and making sure sound's okay, sound quality, all these things. And then we've doubled down on this to put it on YouTube. And I was finding that I was having it was a lot of time. And it's okay. But a lot of time when we're just getting this information out, kind of expose you guys to these concepts. I was running out of time to do some of these things, because some other things that I have to do for business is taking some priority. And I look to our little unit, and Kellen is literally legit on figuring stuff out. And so I decided to walk him through some of this video production and audio production, and showed him exactly how I do it. And then I let him do last night a couple of these on his own, and I'm like, you miss a little component here, yeah, that goes there. But a lot of this for me is just letting go a little bit. And what literally starts to happen in his case is that two things are going on. He starts to see purpose. And you guys got to consider, if you have kids, there's not a whole lot of purpose in like doing chores. It's harder to see the big picture of how that contributes to the family. Now, our kids actually enjoy cooking, so it's one of these things that Marin and I are like, all right, legit. Like, if you see purpose, and they love creating is kind of more the concept. And so they cook, but that's the only chore that most kids could find some sort of purpose in that. It nourishes the family, and obviously there's purpose in making a meal that tastes good versus one that's just horrible because everybody's like, ugh, I'm not going to eat it, and so they find some passion, they find some purpose in this. But immediately with actually engaging Kellen, and I hired him. That's what I said. I'm going to hire you if you want to do this. But it does require that you get up like a job and be able to get this stuff out and when I need it out, not at midnight the next day or stacking them all in one day and not being legitimate on a time frame and stuff like this. So we set some criteria, but there's a big point for this in you, in that for you, in the aspects of what started to transpire with Kellen is he just all of a sudden had some purpose. He was like, look I'm contributing to what my dad's doing, and he has some purpose in it. And the second thing, he's learning an incredible skill. You see, I am one that is highly educated, and I never, taunt that. I never talk about it, and my education has never stopped. Like, I'm learning all the time, but I'm not a huge fan of education, meaning the cost of education right now does not produce. You can't legitimately go out and get a 4-year degree at $100,000 education and expect a return on that investment that would be any different than going and getting a trade or being an entrepreneur. So I'm a huge fan of being an entrepreneur right now until that education system changes and becomes more affordable. Like, I have 8 years past high school. 8 years past high school in education. Nowadays, I got out legitimately with like $112,000 in school loans. I worked during those times, and the others got out cheaper than that. Talking to doctors now that are $250,000 in debt. That is a healthy monthly payment. Now, one could say, well, you got to look at it, and if you're very successful, you can pay that off real quick. I agree. But when somebody could go out and actually do, like I said, video production and learn these trades or these skills and get a job that would probably be paying more than you can with a bachelor's degree, you're not going to win me over on this. So this is our conversations that we have with our kids. These are legitimate conversations that we have. What do you want to do? I mean, is college something you want to do? If you're very good at athletics and this is something that's going to transpire over the next many years, let's talk about it. That is something that maybe we can explore for you. And getting an education to boot, awesome. You can be educated. But going to school doesn't mean that you're educated. I know, for one, that I've educated myself on a ton of different things that had nothing to do with my formal education. And so the point of this is that Kellen is now getting a purpose out of this, and he's getting a skill that will carry him through. I mean, how many 12-year-olds can actually sit in front of Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro and actually produce? He's doing a YouTube channel now with his sisters, and he's producing videos. I think this is a healthy way to go. And who knows where it goes for him? Maybe he's got a passion for it. Maybe after 2 weeks, he's like, dude, hire somebody else. I don't want to do this anymore. But right now, there is a purpose because he's got direction, and he can see the broad picture of what actually he is doing and how that's contributing to my life. And isn't it legitimate? That's all we want in life, is to be able to know that we're contributing and making a difference. So my point is for you guys today is that there's little people in your life. If you don't have kids, there's little people around that you could engage and actually get to a point of being able to show them some things, lead them in a direction, and have more purpose than just what? Playing sports, playing video games, or doing basic chores. Here, take the trash out, kid. So where is it in your world that somebody around you needs to be led and needs to be put on purpose? Whereas before, you may be actually just taking them down the path of just doing chores, teaching them how to be a worker versus actually teaching them how to be an entrepreneur, teaching them a legitimate way how to have purpose and passion and fire in something and to be able to create. That's it. That's the tip and the trick today, is identifying where that exists for you. And compounding off my podcast the other day, here is a legitimate form of connection that I get to have with my kid, and he actually starts to get purpose and has actually literally some production that's going forth. All right, you guys, in love and light, we'll talk to you tomorrow. But comment down below, comment on the Facebook, on the podcast, and let me know. Let me know if this rings true to you.